Hello, and welcome to Never As Funny, the show where I, Patrick, talk to funny people and hope to God they talk back. Now, this episode, I'm talking to not one, not one and a half, but two funny people, Alice Wickersham and Andy Bucks, who make up the sketch duo, Low Effort Sketches. Our mutual comedian, Alex Franklin, put us in touch, and I'm glad she did. They're very funny, and this is the most I've laughed probably recording one of these in a while. I highly recommend you go see their show at the Fringe. And I highly recommend you listen to this. You start now. Don't want to be a quitter, do you? That's right. Good little listener. Welcome back to the show, where I talk to comedians in the know. That's right. It's never as funny. It's never as funny. It's called Never As Funny. It's the name of the show, by the way. Never As Funny. That's the gist of it, the name. The show's called Never. This is like the title music. It's called Never As Funny. All right. Welcome back to Never As Funny, everyone. Today I have on the wonderful, excellent special guest, sketch duo, Low Effort Sketches, which is their name. That's not a dig at you guys. And you've described this. I've seen people describe it as a fun fact or like a quirky story before. You've labeled it very nicely as eccentricity, which I like. And apparently you both created a small farm in your shared locker at secondary school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Would you? We could just leave it there.
We could do. I feel like is there some kind of government intervention that means no, let's talk about that.
Not aware of any. Yeah, well, I mean, we could explain it. I don't know if the explanation really explains anything.
Okay.
Because we had a shared locker.
Yeah.
And we decided to fill it with things.
Yeah.
Like, I think we started off by storing, like, books and stuff in there.
Yeah, that's boring. So
that's a good start.
We then kind of wallpapered it with memes, because memes, were big at this time. They were kind of new and exciting. And then we kind of filled it with a menagerie.
We had, like, a little paper cat.
Aww.
Called Montgomery.
Yeah. A side story from that is that we then went to Montgomery in Wales to kind of celebrate.
No way! That Montgomery's so close to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like...
We went there?
I don't know, it's like an hour drive away.
Oh, we went there specifically to watch the movie Buried.
Yeah.
Oh, with Ryan Gosling?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah, one of the Ryans.
It was kind of a pilgrimage, and we took two friends with us who seemed to be a bit confused as to the purpose of this holiday.
You say confused? I think they were actively annoyed. we took them all the way to Wales to watch Buried, and we didn't really
have a reason other than there's a paper cat in our locker called Montgomery.
Yeah, and we wanted to watch the film Buried, and we just
brilliant.
Put the two together. Yeah.
Did you go to the castle?
I don't remember.
Did we? Or did we just watch Buried?
I love the fact that your friends were annoyed that you dragged them out to Montgomery. You went past like a huge giant castle and ignored it completely.
Did we go to the... We went to the pub. That's probably not it, though.
Is the castle kind of ruins, mainly?
Oh, yeah, we did go.
Yeah, I think
so. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, no, as you said ruins. I was like, oh, yeah, we went to see some ruins.
Yeah,
is that it?
If it's ruined, then we went.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, not to shit on this castle, but...
That's right. It's not a passion for it. So the cat... you said farm.
Oh, yeah, there's other things as well.
There was also a rubber duck, and
in a pond.
we made a little pond for it
How
out
big
of
was
Tupperware with water in. We had to top up.
And glitter, we put glitter in as well.
Yeah, we put glitter in.
This is before glitter became evil.
Yes. Yeah, microplastics were acceptable then.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had a replica of my phone,
yes.
which we dangled from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we had an ant farm, but with no ants.
Yeah.
Because we thought that was probably the line.
Yeah, and we also had... Do you remember the mean ceiling cat? That was a thing. There was like a cat looking down out the ceiling. So we did that.
Vaguely, yeah.
Put a kind of cat looking down out of the locker ceiling as well.
Oh, I mean, he had a carpet.
How big was... When you say locker, I'm picturing like a small... How did you... An ant farm?
I'm thinking like half a meter cubed.
Oh.
Do you mean half a meter by half a meter by half a meter? Do you mean like...
Yeah. It was cube shaped.
It was cube shaped. Do we have a picture?
We have a picture somewhere in the archives. Yeah, in the archives.
I mean, clearly you guys were made to be an off-the-wall sketch duo.
Maybe. I don't think anyone could have predicted that at the time, though.
That's true.
I bumped into... Sorry.
No. Who did you bump into?
Oh, I bumped into someone that we both know from school.
Yeah.
Just by coincidence. We were doing one of our previews for Edinburgh. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is in Cambridge. I just bumped into him. And I explained why I was here. I was like, oh yeah, do you remember me and Alice Wickersham? Do you remember the two of us? It's like, oh yeah, I used to hang around a bit. And then I said, yeah, we're now a sketch comedy double act. And he was like, what? I mean, I really could not believe that.
It's because we're just genuinely unfunny in real life.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Which probably... It's probably not what we want to hear at the start of the podcast.
No.
Oh, no, it's all good. We get very candid on here. It's where it's all revealed. It's all a big lie. But yeah, I mean, speaking of that, before I get into like the actual specifics of your show, which we'll get to, don't worry, how would you each kind of describe? I mean, generally, I assume you might say comedians, but like, would you both describe yourselves as you are sketch comedians, or do you do other things? What's your kind of oeuvre, each of you?
That's a great question.
Whoa.
I think...
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think, well, for my part, so I definitely wouldn't describe myself as a stand-up comedian because this sketch duo is all I do. But I tend not to really use sketch comedy either much, just because I think when you say sketch comedy, people like imagine sets and characters and costumes, and that's just, it's not really our vibe. It's more, we're kind of just almost like playing different versions of ourselves.
Yeah, that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
It comes across like we're just doing ourselves on stage. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say?
I don't know. Yeah, I would maybe say I'm a sketch comedian. I mean, yeah, it's easier than saying all of that. But yeah, I also do stand-up as well.
Yeah, so you would say presumably a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, although I have been like just focusing on sketch for just getting ready for this run really, so at the moment I'd say I'm a sketch comedian. You did solo stand-up once.
One time.
You are technically also a stand-up, sort
of. Never to be done again.
Yeah.
Was it just didn't draw you back, or was it like a traumatic experience?
It wasn't traumatic. I just didn't, I don't know. I think, I guess for me, it's almost just something fun that I do with a friend.
Yeah.
And so if you're just doing it on your own, I think you have to have a real desire to pursue comedy, to have the self-motivation to do it on your own.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, it's not that I lack that motivation, but, you know, I'm not pursuing stand-up comedy, so I don't...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas, like, I get the enjoyment of doing this with a friend out of doing it as a sketch comedy duo.
Oh, that's great.
I also do enjoy it more when there's like someone else on stage with you, because, I don't know, it's like... It's less scary.
Oh, yeah.
I get very scared.
Yeah, we both do. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the sense of camaraderie with any kind of group performance is great, because I think it helps a bit with if you have a bad night, you know, you can kind of hug it out and be like, well, they didn't get it, but we'll do better next time. Whereas when it is just you, there's no one to kind of turn to and be like, tough crowd, right?
Mm.
But yeah, definitely. I think it's good that you said that as well, because I think I'd really like... My ideal audience for this show, I think, includes a lot of people who are interested in dipping their toes into comedy. I was trying to think of the right limb. And I think a lot of people are kind of scared off by... You hear a lot of people talk about, yeah, if you want to do comedy, you got to grind, which is sort of true. But, you know, that thing of like, yeah, it's hard. It's, you know, it's not easy. That was the same thing twice. I think I meant to say.
Just really hammering that point home.
Yeah. And yeah, you gotta commit, which I don't think is true all the time. I think it's good for people to hear it. Yeah, you can try it out or do it for fun. And you don't have to right off the bat be like, okay, great, I've now decided I'm going to grind for the next 10 years to make a career or fail. How long have you both been doing comedy then? I mean, you said this is the main thing you've done. Had you done anything before this, Alice? And then Andy, sorry, I'm getting used to talking to two people at once. Andy, you've said you've done stand-up before. Is this your first project together? Like, what's your background?
It's our first project together, and yeah, apart from that one fateful stand-up set I did one time, I had no comedy experience prior to this.
It really makes it sound like it was an awful... It was a good set, I think. So
it was a tight 5.
I think you could try doing it again, but anyway, yeah. So I guess the story is I started in like 2015, I think was my first gig.
Okay.
But this is like very much like on and off, so I didn't really gig regularly for a while after that, like a couple of years. And then around that time we started, we lived together in London.
Yeah, we were in a house share.
Yeah.
And so you were, Andy was dragging housemates along to gigs a lot.
Yeah.
As plus ones.
Yeah.
Bringers. So I went to a lot of Andy's gigs.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
No, I genuinely enjoyed it. Andy is a great stand-up comic in his own right, I will say. And, it's not something that he just does in the past. He does still do it now.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, and you're very good. You make me laugh a lot. Yeah.
That's a good endorsement. I mean, I know you must be pretty good. And to be honest, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, that's a pretty brave thing to do. Because I think, I mean, I haven't been doing it for that long, to be honest. But it's bringing people, even acquaintances, to gigs has always been for me. Yeah, I'm not going to do that for a while.
Yeah, it is terrifying, especially because, especially if you're starting out like in London, there's loads of bringers. Yeah. So the people that you bring along inevitably like see you at your worst when you're doing these kind of like, the first few gigs, like comedy virgins, for example, where it's like, I've got quite a few friends who have seen me do comedy once very early on and like just died on my ass.
Oh, that's right.
And that they haven't come again. And to date, that is their only impression of me doing comedy, and that is, that haunts me. Like, a good friend, like he came to GMB one time, and I just, oh man, I was awful that night.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was really really bad.
Oh,
and I remember just walking back to the station afterwards and just like avoiding talking about what I'd just done. And he hasn't seen me perform since then. So that is
amazing.
That is very much unoptimal. But so I was dragging gigs.
Yeah, that's how we got here.
And I think at some point we started just talking about the idea of doing a double act. Is that right?
Yeah.
But you did your solo gig first. That came first.
Yeah.
Had you done comedy at uni before or anything first, or is this just you just decided to try?
I hadn't. I mainly tried it because I was seeing Andy do it, basically. Yeah. But when did you actually start? Did you start doing it at uni?
Yeah, it was like right at the end of my undergrad.
Right.
And that was because one of our mutual friends had started doing it. I went along to like support him. Then I thought, well, if he can do it, so can I.
If this unfunny loser can get up there, then I got it.
He was alright, but I mean, he doesn't do comedy now.
Okay.
Which means that he is the real winner.
That's very true.
In this scenario, yeah.
But yeah, so you were just like, oh, shall we do? I mean, how did that conversation happen? Did one of you was like, oh, let's write sketches?
I literally don't remember.
Me neither.
No, but I mean, because we were living in a house share at the time.
Yeah.
We were just constantly kind of around each other, I guess, and batting ideas back and forth. So it was quite almost like organic.
Right, like an evolution of...
To start coming up with ideas.
Yeah. I vaguely remember like sitting down like specifically to write some sketches for like our first gig. I think.
Really?
I think we came up with the volcano one.
Oh yeah.
And the phonetic alphabet one, which is actually in our show now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I that's a good one.
Yeah, that's one of the originals.
I was about to say what I liked about it, but I don't know if you. I don't want to spoil it. Sorry, but yeah, it's very good. I really liked. I think just alphanumerical characters reminded me of when I did a bit of research and you guys came across the sketch you had on radio. One of the numbers 4.
Oh, BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
Oh wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, yeah. Well found.
You're tuned in to the UK Top 10.
Each week, we count down the UK's hottest tracks, but today we're doing something a little different.
That's right, Alice. This week, we're counting down the top 10 smallest whole numbers.
In at number 10, it's 10.
At number 9, it's 9, down 2 from last week.
Holding steady at number 8, it's 8.
At 7, we'll bring you a news update, but for now, let's get back to the countdown.
In at joint 5th, it's 6 and 6.
A dead heat? How come?
Doesn't matter really, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
In at number 4, well, we'll let you put 2 and 2 together.
At number 3, it's 3, also known as a baker's couple.
Now it's time for number 2.
Not while you're live on air. Let's move on.
In at number 1, it's 7, which means it's time for a news update.
Our top story today, Boris Johnson survives Partygate and is still in at number 10.
Tune in next week for the top 10 biggest whole numbers. Goodbye.
Which is, yeah, with the numbers counting down, and it really did. Because oftentimes when I watch stuff before talking to a comedian, I'll find it funny. But, you know, when you're sitting at home watching stuff, you don't often, like, crack up but it really did get me just because it just somehow managed to keep catching me off guard because the way you progress it. And I think you guys have a real knack for that in the stuff you put on stage. There's multiple ones where you start off with this idea where it's like, okay, that's a cool idea, but surely that's it. But then somehow you manage to keep reinventing it and building on it as it goes, which I think is really cool.
Thank you.
Oh, that's very kind.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that.
Just feel flattered.
Yeah. Oh.
I like to butter up my guests a little bit. But what's your process like when you were writing those ones back then? Is it similar to how you put them together now, or has your kind of process for putting sketches together evolved a lot?
It might have evolved because I think, yeah, back then, because we were living in the same house, like it was more brainstormy, knocking ideas around and that sort of thing. Now I feel like the rhythm we've kind of settled into is Andy is kind of the ideas guy and kind of comes up with the basis for a sketch that's, yeah, always very funny. And I think that's because you have such a kind of attuned comedian brain.
Right.
I'm, by contrast, not like walking around coming up with ideas and keeping note of them in my notebook very much. My brain just doesn't really work that way. So I kind of become the editor. So like,
I see.
Yeah. And Andy has an idea and then I shape it a bit.
Yeah, you said that my ideas are always good. That is absolutely not true. I think, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's so untrue. But there's a lot of
reading
out.
I'm talking you up so much on this podcast.
So much.
I treat you so badly.
You've never said any of this to me before in real life.
I will say it's not a huge knock to you. I think if all your ideas were good, you'd be like the first person in history to have that quality. So
yeah, it's very much okay, but it's quite fun because I guess the rhythm that we settled into for the last year or so at least, we've had like a weekly meeting on a Monday, and we go through like a bunch of ideas I've come up with over the course of the week. I don't know, there'll probably be a few of them and we just read through them and we see if any of them make Alice laugh, and if they do, that's usually a sign that it's funny. And then, because I trust Alice's opinion on...
Yeah.
Well, I can be quite brutal.
Yeah, that's the word I was going to use. You are a brutal editor.
If something's not funny, I will just be like, that's not funny.
Right, yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, I was saying... Sorry, there may be a slight delay because of the connection, which will be cleared up. But...
Alright, okay.
I mean, the thing is, what I said was like a very lame joke. So now there's been a lot of warm-up. I basically said, is it trust or is it more of a safety mechanism?
I trust you. Yeah, I do. Well, I've got... No, I actually do. The more I say it, the less believable it becomes. But I like if we disagree on like a line, for example, or like whether or not it's funny, I generally think, I'm probably right. Yeah, but you are a very brutal editor, but I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was curious to ask when you mentioned brutality, like, do you guys ever find that you come into, not to blows, but to like little bits of, are there moments where you have friction over, I think this idea is really good, no, this is terrible, it's not funny, and you have to work on it, or are you generally pretty in sync with stuff?
I think usually we're fairly in sync, but I think especially in the process actually of writing this particular show and like shaping our narrative around it, there are definitely things where, you know, one of us has said, I think we should do this, and the other person has almost like, you know, dug their heels in and been like, no, that's not the way forward.
Yeah, I think what we've ended up with in the show is stuff that we both agree is actually good, and we kind of, I guess in some way we each have like a veto. Yeah, I think that's true.
Right, yeah.
But there has been a long history of gorilla-themed sketches, which I'm going to bring up at this point. I just think gorillas are funny.
Yeah, Andy thinks
a lot of the sketches that I've written devolve into like a gorilla coming on stage and just like causing chaos.
Yeah.
They are funny.
And not a single one of these ideas has made it into the show.
Well, I mean, it's for this expense, surely. I can't imagine it's easy to get a gorilla up forever.
Yeah.
Or ethical, possibly.
Yeah, well, it'd be fun, though. Can you imagine, like, the risk assessment on that?
Yeah.
Imagine emailing just for toilet. Like, yeah, we don't have pyrotechnics, but we do have a gorilla.
But also, marketing-wise, you wouldn't have to do any other sketches.
No, we would be the talk of the fringe, I think,
true, yeah.
if we had a live gorilla.
Yeah, the publicity writes itself, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I would like to dive into your main show. We're kind of towards the middle section. And also, I'm hoping that after restarting the call, the delays will clear up a bit, which sometimes happens. The reason for the delays is quite possibly because all of my little Welsh village I live in is on the same Wi-Fi. And for a while, it was obviously terrible. Then it got better. But then recently, some guys down the road have started up like a little holiday campsite and just given them all the Wi-Fi.
Oh my god.
And so presumably at this time, they're all Netflixing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've gone down there and screamed at them that I'm trying to record a podcast, but it doesn't seem to go in, so... That's a joke. I love he lives down the road, and I'll bleep out his name. But... the song that you guys have gone with is... Oh, I thought this was all the title, but yeah, the song is not All For You, Janet Jackson. The song is All For You by Janet Jackson. Before I go into it, is there... Why that song? Is it just one you guys like, or... Yeah, is there any context for it?
Oh, I don't know, it's just become like a fixture. But I can't remember why. I think when we were living together, we used to just sing it to each other a lot, but...
I associate it with you. I thought you would come up with the explanation for this one.
No.
No, you don't. Okay.
No, that's lost to the mists of time.
I thought maybe it was like your theme tune for me.
What?
No? Is that not it?
Oh, the girls at the party, look at that body.
Yeah.
That's a brilliantly arrogant assumption.
No, but I don't.
It's gotta be about me, I'm sure. Who else?
I think you meant it in a sarcastic way. That's my memory. Am I completely wrong on this?
I have no idea. I just don't remember.
Okay. Okay. Well, in the break, we might have to discuss this because I thought this was like something that he brought up as like an ironic theme tune for. No. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll discuss in the break and report back to you if we come up with anything.
That's fantastic. I'm excited. I mean, obviously, I'll have a little photo of both of you guys up, so once listeners have heard it, they can make up their own judgments about.
Oh no. Oh god.
I should put all my guests under this kind of pressure.
What? Putting myself up for here.
Every episode now,
Oh, no.
make sure the guest knows that my audience is going to rate their physical appearance.
Yeah, I'm gonna get body shamed. Oh,
But
I'm okay. I'm actually nervous now.
here comes All For You by Janet Jackson. Hello, and welcome to the middle section. Now let's cut to the fucking chase. Andy and Alice are a sketch duo, and like always, I can do whatever my guests can, so I'm about to call my very best friend Cam, of YouTube channel Cambrian Chronicles. We have chemistry that will blow Andy and Alice out of the water. We're always making each other laugh. Yeah, I've prepped him to record a sketch with me, themed around Janet Jackson's sexy, sexy song, All For You. So here we go. Phone a friend.
Hello.
Hi, Cam. It's me. You ready?
Ready for what?
The sketch thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll get my equipment.
That's fine.
All right. What am I reading?
The comedy skit I emailed you.
Comedy. Yeah.
We
This is just lyrics. What's funny about this one? I don't get it.
No, that's the point. The point is that we're just reading. It's supposed to not be funny. It's like irony. That's what's funny about it.
All right. I'm not gonna do it if you shout.
No, please. We're a sketch duo. Remember?
No, we're not. I don't like sketch comedy. I'm doing this because you promised to help with my video script, and you still haven't done it yet. I know you're probably never gonna do it.
I am gonna do it.
You're shouting again. They see the all pod and no cast. That makes Patrick an angry boy.
Sorry.
Shall I start?
Yeah, please.
Oh my girl.
No, you've got to act it.
But I'm not an actor.
Can you just please just try?
Oh my girls.
No.
I don't like this.
Just wait. Just do what you're told. Okay, I'm sorry.
How many followers do you have on Spotify?
Nearly 100.
How many?
33.
Right. And how many do I have?
34.
That's right. Read them and weep.
Okay, I'll just finish it. Oh yeah, that's fine. All my girls at the party, look at that body. Shaking that thing like you never did see. Got a nice package, alright. Guess I'm just gonna have to write it tonight. It's not just reading lyrics. It's funny. People are gonna think that was funny.
So during the break, we've compiled a list of disclaimers and also further information that we would like to give from the first half.
We've been fretting about
Right.
certain points. Well, okay.
I did wonder that part where you kept talking about how you hated women in comedy. I wondered if you
Yeah, I assume you've cut that bit.
Please remain calm. This is an official low-effort sketches disclaimer. Assume the brace position and wait for emergency services to arrive.
Okay, so the first disclaimer is I do think that Alice is funny in her own right. Because I'm not sure about... Because I think the only description I gave of you was that you were a brutal editor. And Alice was actually very complimentary to me. And there is an imbalance there that I want to address.
I want to say, that's very sweet of you. And I fully understand what you mean. But there is something funny about saying, I want to say that Alice is funny in her own way.
Oh, I said in her own right, but in her own way is also accurate. Okay, and the second thing is, right, yeah, okay, this is Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
I concede that probably not all the girls at the party are looking at my body. It does come across very arrogant. I genuinely, okay. Let me also just point out that this is a list of disclaimers that I have to make that Alice wrote.
That's not true. That is not true.
No, I do also want to say this, but it's kind of funny that you wrote it.
I just made note. You read out the disclaimers you would like to make, and like a secretary, I wrote them down.
Right, okay. Once again, I have become the bad guy. Okay.
The further information that I would like to add is that during the break, I tried to do a bit of a deep dive on the origins of All For You by Janet Jackson. And we couldn't find much on the origins of it specifically. But what I can tell you is that since about 2011, Andy and I have been planning for our joint funeral.
Okay.
Because we assume that we're going to die at the same time.
Yes.
And we have quite elaborate plans, but that, we can save that story for another time. Anyway, we checked our joint funeral playlist on Spotify, and All For You by Janet Jackson was added to that playlist by Andy, not by me.
Ah.
So he may have had some hand in its origins, at least.
Yeah, I have to concede that.
The evidence is damning.
Yeah. It might have been me that added it.
Just trying to seed the idea.
Yeah, and the idea that Alice thought it was sort of a good description of me, even though it was my anthem, that might actually not be true.
That's brilliant.
And we went on Genius to look at the lyrics for the song, and reading them back, it does seem very arrogant. If I think, if I... Oh man.
All the girls at the party, look at that body, shaking that thing like you never did see.
No.
Got a nice package, all right. Guess I'm going to have to ride it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's not about me. Well, there we go. That's our reflections on the first part of this podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely not true. I mean, you do shake your thing at the party, but nobody's watching.
maybe a couple of girls might be watching.
Yeah, statistically. I mean, you'd have to come into line of sight, surely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's kind of statistical error in that sense.
Thank you.
But yes. So, your show. What has become kind of a tradition, just because it's turned out to be a decent question to ask, I think, is when you guys are flyering, how do you pitch it to punters? What's your how do you briefly describe it?
We pitch it poorly, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think we're good at.
We're not good salespeople of our own show.
Well, Annabelle's phrase, which I quite liked, is it's relatable and not. What's her phrase?
I think it's relatable but unrelatable at the same time.
Or
something
some
like that.
Relatable sketches and some absolutely not relatable sketches.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Right. That's better than anything we can come up with.
It's actually very apt.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's good.
Annabelle is your she's your tech and kind of your secret third cast member occasionally, right?
Yeah.
She does voiceovers for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's also my girlfriend, which is probably important information, maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
Is it important?
Yeah, she got dragged into this role not by choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I must say, she's doing a fantastic job. And I'll follow up with you guys are as well, because I don't want to leave you out. It's a very... I've got to work on tone, because I have noticed in the past, most things I say tend to sound like they've got a twinge of irony to them. So the more I say things like, yeah, you guys are really good. But you are. And yeah, I mean, I think there's actually not a bad pitch. How would you, if you had a bit more time, and why am I struggling to just ask this question? I basically just want to ask, how would you describe your show?
Silly. Fourth wall breaking.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully it's like stupid but clever, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree. I think that word actually did pop into my mind, but I wanted to let you guys say it, because if that wasn't your own personal descriptor. But I know exactly what you mean, because I think doing stupid but clever comedy is quite a tricky thing to do. There's a real good mixture of... I've noticed you guys do a lot. And by the way, stop me if I'm very ADHD. I will keep talking occasionally, and I don't want to tell you about your own show, so shut me up if I'm doing that. But there were multiple lines in there where it felt that it showed how good your guys' delivery was, because they were things that on their own... This is about to sound like an insult, it's not what I mean, but on their own. Like if I said them to a person on the street, they'd actually be like, ah, you know what I mean? Like, but you deliver them with such kind of penchant. This doesn't make any sense. What do I mean?
I'm not sure what that means.
Me neither. They're good is what I'm trying to say, basically. They feel deliberate. They don't feel like you've gone, oh, this is just a silly joke, I'll throw this in. It all feels very put together, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Wow. Do we seem curated? Do we have polish?
I think you do. I mean...
I don't know.
Okay, speaking of polish, it's good. Back to questions I can actually get my way through. Do you anticipate the show changing much over the course of Fringe?
Maybe?
Oh, it'll be interesting to see if we have different answers to this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just before we sat down to record this, actually, we were discussing changes for tomorrow, because we want to change the order of the sketches.
Ah.
Yeah.
And after each show, I think we've each sort of come back to each other with, like, a few different, like, notes of, like, I know, just small tweaks to make.
Yeah.
But there's not been anything major yet.
No, it's mostly, like, delivery, or if the order of the sketches we do could be slightly improved.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any big content changes.
Right.
Yeah. We did consider the possibility of, like, having some, like, maybe rotating one of the sketches out. There's a few which we didn't put in the show that maybe we could have done.
And there's a segment as well where we do a series of, like, really stupid one-liners. And
I do like that one.
We've chopped and changed that a bit already, because they haven't been trialled as much as most of our sketches. So
right,
we're doing a bit of chopping and changing on that to find, like, which the best ones are. Yes,
that's the part. I think you announced it as you're trying to compete in best one-liner at Fringe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the premise.
Yeah.
Which is a great little chat. I like that. I mean, the fourth wall breaking as well. I mean, that's kind of an example of it, in that you're sort of... And you mentioned earlier as well the way you kind of playing versions of yourselves, and that you sort of dip in and out of... It's like, it is, as well as being a sketch show, it is a sketch... Sorry, my brain is really just falling out of my head today.
No, it's fine.
Self-aware, I guess is what I mean. Like, you occasionally break to be like, this isn't going to work. And yeah, I'm trying to sort of avoid spoilers as well. But yeah, so, I mean, is that... You guys have been doing this for a while. Has that always been kind of a way that you've written your shows or sketches together? Or is it something new?
I think a lot of our sketches are fairly fourth wall breaking, aren't they? From the beginning.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. In terms of the narrative around the show, I think we can give a hint to that without giving too much away. The premise is that Andy kind of gets too carried away and does too much ad-libbing. on stage, and Alice is sort of fed up with him going off script all the time. And like, I think we've almost unintentionally landed on a narrative which is not a million miles away from our actual dynamics sometimes, in that, I mean, like, going back to the gorilla thing, sometimes Andy does want to do something that in my mind is just not it.
Right.
And I'm trying to like rein it in.
Yeah. There's truth under the surface.
Yeah, as is always the case. There's a nugget of truth.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I think you mentioned earlier it's important, I agree. I think it's a good dynamic to have. You want the ability for spontaneity. I mean, I think, Andy, I'm on a similar line. When I came up with a sketch troupe last year, I was frequently the one in trouble for like, okay, that was kind of funny, man, but also like you made that sketch about 4 minutes longer than it needed to be. And so, yeah, I think it's really good to balance each other out like that. And you mentioned you used what's the word? Oh, the phonetic sketch, let's call it. That's been used before. Is most of the show kind of sketches that you've honed and taken from elsewhere, or is a good chunk of it new?
It's kind of the best of our catalogue in a way, which I know it's hard to believe that that's the best we got. But
I mean, we don't have any like previous shows that we're pulling these sketches from,
right?
Because we normally just do like perform on the London comedy circuit.
Yes.
So it's just like sketches that we've been working on.
Yeah,
over the last few years, I guess.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah.
And sort of putting them all together.
This is the first full show that we've done, and it has been basically like compiling the best of our sketches and then trying to form some kind of narrative around that.
Yeah. So some of that is like new for the purposes of like, you know, like making it a full show.
Yes. How have you guys felt about transitioning to because you mentioned doing the comedy circuit. Is that like you go up on a pub stage or club stage for just like a few minutes? How has it been transitioning to doing a full hour at Fringe?
It was a lengthy process, and we had a director who helped us out a bit. He really helped us like find the narrative, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. And his name is Will Rowland.
Yeah, shout out to Will Rowland.
I don't know why we're skirting around that.
Our anonymous director.
He wants nothing to do with this show. He might not want anything to do with this show, to be fair.
Check.
Maybe he's ashamed of what he's done.
Well,
probably not.
If he gets in touch, I'll replace him with, I'll just pick some other well-known director and replace it.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, that works. I did wonder about all the foot stuff at the show.
That's a weird sketch.
Yeah. And we formed a narrative around it eventually, but it was quite tough to find. It's almost quite a hard way round to go from having a bunch of completely unrelated sketches to trying to form them into something that's like reasonably coherent.
Yeah. Will was very helpful in like pointing us towards like dynamics that would maybe work.
Yeah, he pointed out a lot of stuff about our material that we hadn't really noticed before, like the fact that a lot of it is quite, I don't know, I guess we go into gender quite a lot.
Yes, yeah.
Because we're obviously a mixed gender sketch act.
What?
There's kind of space to explore that, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. And he pointed us away from some directions as well, which is also very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was also some sketches which, like, we were able to, like, recontextualise a bit, given the way that they were kind of wrapping them all together.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was a bit of a long process as well, as, like, chopping and changing different bits and, like, splicing the ending of one sketch onto the ending of another sketch to make some weird hybrid that now kind of fits better.
Right.
With the overall flow, I think.
Was it tricky to balance did you feel like you had to make sacrifices one way or the other to, I mean, I guess what's more important to you guys with it? That it feels like a coherent one show, or is it more important to you guys that just these individual sketches each hit on their own the most?
I know my answer to that. I think my answer is that I care more about the individual sketches hitting. And as long as the framing thing is just enough to kind of hold it all together, that's probably fine, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll go along with that.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if I could try and form an independent thought.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's okay. The podcast is audio, so the listeners can't see Andy holding up his fist like an old-time wrestler, waiting for your response. But
disclaimer: I do not threaten Alice with violence.
That's a likely story.
Help.
But was it that your director Will's suggestion? Will, is that too informal? Should I call him Roland? I'm happy.
Mr. Roland.
Mr. Roland.
William Roland.
Yes. Mr. William Roland. Was it his suggestion that you have a through line at all? Like, what made you feel that was like, to do this, we need to have that?
I think actually a big part of his role was to help us find what we wanted to do.
Okay.
And I think that was actually something he posed to us. It was like, do you want this to... Because we kind of pondered the idea of like almost having no narrative at all, just going in like cold with just sketch after sketch. Well, yeah, I guess almost like traditional sketch show, like, and he just sort of helped us mull that over. It was useful having a third voice because sometimes, you know, when there's two of you, you can get to a bit of a deadlock. And at the beginning of forming this show, I think we were suffering from the fact that neither of us really had a clear vision of what we wanted the show to be, but we also had quite different visions in terms of what we didn't want the show to be.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I feel like we kind of always wanted it to be some kind of through line. Like the very first version of the show that we did, the idea was that we were trying to write a sketch that was better than anything we'd done before. But I mean, that was just an excuse to have like lots of sketches back to back that were like, oh, we're trying this one now we're trying this one.
Yeah.
And then Will was just like, no, don't do that, basically. And he pointed out, like, you've got this third person in the background, like, who is that? Like, what is your relationship with them? And I think that's where the current version kind of came from.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so.
My memory's not very good.
We should have kept a diary during this process.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have also included our thoughts on All For You by Janet Jackson at each point.
I know. Thoroughly disappointed. I told you guys, I need a solid documentation of your thoughts on All For You before we begin the show. But yeah, that's. I always find the process of how people put together shows interesting, because obviously it's different for everyone. I mean, how long... You guys have been doing sketches together for a while. How long was it between We Should Do Fringe and now?
Well, we did a split. We did a split hour last year.
Yeah.
The other half hour being Andy doing solo stand-up.
Right. Yeah, I split an hour with myself.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So, I mean, yeah, and I think probably fairly shortly after that, we decided we would do a full run this year with a proper show.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because that was kind of the dipping our toe in sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Andy had done Fringe before last year, but I hadn't, so I was kind of like, well, I don't want to go in full first time, let's just try a split hour with you and see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of previews in the run up to it outside of Edinburgh?
We did some. We did do some.
We probably should have done more.
Yeah, probably.
But equally, it kind of worked out because our very last preview, at the end of it, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, I think that's kind of it. Right, that's great. We've got what we... So that was very fortuitous because we also could have very easily just not had enough. Yeah, it was kind of lucky. That's true. Although, to be fair, I've spoken to people who've done different numbers of them. I spoke to, I think it was Sarah Hester Ross I spoke to, who, I mean, she'd had some of the stuff in her show she'd used before. I think it was her. It could have been someone else, so I might get in big trouble for this. But I think she's, I think she said that she'd done none before coming to Edinburgh. So, yeah, you could definitely be more in the deep end.
But yeah, it's great that it came together for you guys. In the previews you did, is it a very similar show to what it is now? Before the last one, at least, I guess.
It was a sort of gradually morphing, really.
Yeah, I think it's probably changed a fair bit since our first work in progress. Like, we, at first we were kind of, because we were trying to find which sketches we wanted to include, it was light on narrative. Okay. And we were just hammering through a lot of sketches. And then we kind of gradually rebalanced it a bit. So we whittled out some of the sketches that we didn't think were our best and replaced it with narrative instead. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. And then what about, I guess, to conclude at least this section of the podcast, I was going to say your guys' story, but that does make it sound like this is it for you. But yeah, are you guys planning on continuing to do shows after this Fringe, to come back again?
Oh,
we've not discussed it at length, so this will be interesting to see what the other person thinks.
Well, I suspect that we might be sick of each other by the end of the month, and we might want a fairly lengthy break.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do have a gig booked in for like September or something, so...
Yeah, I think we'll probably take at least a bit of a break.
Yeah.
And I guess you might kind of go back to focusing on your solo work for a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I don't think, I mean, I hope that this isn't like the end.
Yeah. What if it is, though? It might be.
It might be. This might be the last hurrah.
It is becoming increasingly impractical to like go to gigs.
Yeah,
together,
we live really far apart.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I live in Sussex and Andy lives in Coventry.
Right.
So London is like the closest to a halfway point you can get, but it's a long trek for both of us, but particularly for Andy.
Yeah, my rail card expires in April. That's genuinely a major...
Yeah.
Because it's like, to get from Coventry to London on like the reasonably fast train is like over 40 quid with a rail card.
Yeah. No, trust me, I understand that, because I like to mention that I live in rural Wales. There's a friend of mine who's part of the troupe I went up with last year, and we keep talking about, as creatives do, we keep going, we need to work on something together. But he lives in, don't remember what part of London, possibly wouldn't want me to say anyway, but he lives in London and I live here. So we're hoping at some point to do like audio stuff. But yeah, the practicality of it is difficult. I mean, is that something you guys have thought about? Like, you had that one thing on the radio, has doing, I don't know, podcast things or stuff like that ever?
Oh no, I know. Are you thinking what I'm thinking of?
Yes.
The one podcast I did.
Yes, I am.
I don't know if we want... Do you want this to be on record?
I mean, we can. I mean...
What happened?
Insofar as it hasn't come to fruition and it never will.
Yeah.
I think we're probably safe to say.
No, I just mean in terms of, like... Are you worried about someone stealing the idea?
I think someone kind of already has started something in a similar vein.
No, I think it was a joke, though. I don't think it was real.
This must seem very cryptic.
I'm heavily intrigued. I'm happy to...
Yeah, we might have to say now, because we've alluded to it so much.
I mean,
we could just say it, and then if you decide it's not appropriate for public consumption, you could cut all mention of this.
Yeah, or I can put a long bleep sound effect, and then just hear my reaction at the end of, oh my god, guys, that's not okay.
I actually love that idea.
Who's going to say what it is?
I think you're going to say what it is.
Am I going to say what it is?
And
okay.
I'm going to just also quickly look to see whether I can get any further details on our initial plans for it.
Right, okay, yeah. So Alice is loading up a Google Doc.
To be clear,
with...
this isn't a future... This is something that you tried and decided to never again.
This is something that I don't think we ever actually did, but we did discuss doing it.
Yeah, we discussed it at length.
D between.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's how the pun works.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a Google Doc which contains it's a record of all of our ideas since the very beginning, and it's about 216 pages long. So
oh wow, okay.
It takes a while for Google to
Alice is trying to Control
it.
F through this thing, and it's not having it. Right, well, while I search for this, what it is
Yeah.
is the Poodcast, where we basically just discuss we discuss the poos that we have taken that day, if any.
If any. If applicable.
I think this arose just because at some point when we were living together, this is just something that we just genuinely discuss when we got home from work each day. We would be like, do any good poos today?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Sometimes it would actually be quite funny, and we thought maybe this could be a podcast. What would we call it? Oh, well, let's call it the Poodcast. That's a great pun. So we started writing it down.
It's just comedy gold, isn't it?
But then, for hopefully understandable reasons, we've never actually done this. But then, so what we were alluding to before, well, I think it was the same. I think you were alluding to the same thing I was thinking of. Alice has searched for the word poo in those Google Docs.
500 results.
635 matches.
Oh my god!
635
I said 500 is a joke.
Which I think tells you a lot. I think that mainly tells you about what material you've been spared from by our cuts.
Oh no, I'm delighted by this.
And what didn't make it into the show.
I mean, I'm genuinely... In about a week after this, you're going to see that this podcast is shut down. I'm going to set up my new show, Never Is City, where I have on different comedians to tell me about the poos they've taken each day.
So the other thing that I think we were both alluding to was it Joe Lycett?
Yes.
He started a podcast that was going to be basically this, but then it turned out to be some kind of stunt to raise awareness of like...
Yeah. So I think there's still a gap in the market for
like
it,
water
for sure.
awareness or something. Yeah.
I also I feel like he didn't call it the Poodcast. I feel like he went for something else as well.
Yeah. What was it called? Alice is just searching for it. Turdcast? Is that what it's called? I just saw it.
Yes,
Just went past
Turdcast.
Yeah. Turdcast. Now, okay, is it arrogant to say that name is not as good?
No, it's not. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Missed an opportunity, I'd say.
Yeah.
Possibly. To me, it sounds like Joe missed the opportunity by not continuing.
I'm intrigued to know whether you're going to put any of this in the final cut.
Make the cut.
If you guys are happy with it, this is all going in.
Oh boy.
I'm cutting out all the stuff about your show.
I think this is something that on some level we're deeply ashamed of. But maybe it could go out into the world.
The thing is, I don't think it's that bad, but I do think if I bleep it, it's going to sound a lot worse. Because if you start...
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, don't bleep it.
We had this bleep cast where we talked about bleep. But anyway, it was too horrible for anyone to hear about.
Yeah. Done any good bleeps today?
Yeah, no, if you're going to keep any of this in, please keep the podcast name in.
I definitely will. I mean, if you like, I
important.
can send you, before I finish, I can send you just this section if you want to verify.
We might have to show this to a third party and just see
Get legal advice.
What their verdict is on like whether this whether this should be unleashed on the world.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well.
Yeah, excellent.
I do agree. Excellent. I'm 100% massive fan of that. That's been great. So I think it's just good to be that tangent. That sounds like I'm accusing you. I'm not. I fully forced you to drag that out. But it does mean that Zoom is going to end the call soon.
Mm.
So it might be...
Is that what we're going to end on?
Not behind thing. That's all we have time for.
I was going to suggest that I end this now, and then I call you back, and we just do sketch and plugs, which is probably like 10 minutes max.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, that should be great. But yeah, if you guys are happy with it, yeah, I'm totally cool with that. I
think I'm happy with it. I don't think we're ever going to do this.
No.
Maybe we should.
Well, I mean, even if we... No, look, we're not going to do it. But if we ever did, it's quite nice to have this...
I was going to say, this is like a plug.
You know, because we won't have the Janet Jackson problem. We'll be able to find the exact origins.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll learn from our past mistakes.
So anytime you guys have any conversation about potential projects, just hit me up and we'll record another podcast for prosperity.
Okay, in the break, shall we see if there's any other projects that we need to bring up now?
I thought you were going to say whether there's any other disclaimers we need to give.
There's any new shits we can talk about. This is brilliant. You guys are the hardest working. I've never had guests go, all right, in the break, I'm going to do research. This is brilliant. It's making me feel that I feel like I should be doing that more.
No, I think we're just odd.
I think we're driven by deep anxiety.
Yeah.
That's every guest I've had on the show and every comedian I've ever spoken to has said something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we're all strange cookies. Is that?
I love that.
Alice just cringed very hard at that, as if to say, Patrick, please cut this.
I don't know. I'm kind of a strange cookie myself. I might stay. We'll see.
Is that what you meant?
Oh, well, yeah, no, I just quite like that.
Alice has now moved off the screen in
She's actually fled to the corner of the room. I'm taking over from now on.
You just called all of our peers strange cookies in one swipe.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I said they were all riddled with anxiety first, so it's we're in the same boat.
That's okay. We can add this to our disclaimer list.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, definitely. Before we do that, is there anything you want to go with, Alice? Is there anything you want to drop about all your peers? So we're all even.
I love all my peers, and I have no bad words to say about anyone.
I feel like I'm talking to a politician who's been put on the spot.
It's all Andy.
Right. That's the official story.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I look forward to disclaimers and research. Please remain calm. This is an official low-effort sketches disclaimer. Assume the brace position and wait for emergency services to arrive. Okay, disclaim away.
Okay, yeah. So we have a couple of other disclaimers from the previous part. First of all, I wanted to say that, so apparently when I said before the break, I love everyone, it sounded like I was being really sarcastic. I want to be clear that I wasn't being sarcastic, but also I don't literally love everyone. Yeah. So I think I just want to make that clear.
Okay, that's very good. The people know.
My disclaimer is I'm worried that I dissed Joe Lycett. Because I was like, well, our podcast name's better.
He's a very powerful man.
Yeah, like what if he hears this and he's like, who the fuck's this guy? But
I mean, it's good marketing for me.
Yeah, I guess so. But I like Joe Lycett. I don't want him to think that I'm a hater.
No, we heard it. You said he stole your idea and you're willing to publicly stand on that.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I'll make sure these disclaimers are clear. I'm thinking I might even put in... I like how it's become a theme to the point where I might put in a little disclaimer sound effect, see if I can put one together for these.
So yeah, that'd be very
clear. That'd be fun.
I think it might become apparent through this podcast that we're generally quite fearful.
Yeah. There's a second bullet point that we wrote down, it's just we're afraid.
Disclaimer, I'm so scared.
Yeah. We did also look through our Google Doc to see if we had any other ongoing projects that needed to be kind of documented.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we couldn't really find anything.
There was no gold, for sure.
Oh yeah, no. Nothing good.
The only thing that we thought we might mention was an idea that we had.
Yeah, for our debut hour, so what we could have been doing instead of our show. Was basically just me drinking a bucket of stagnant KFC gravy. And somehow that would be the show.
That is very Edinburgh Fringe, to be honest. I like it. I got an email from I was sad because I might cut this out because I don't want to pad this out too much of me talking about emails I got. But one of the press ones was, it was in third person, but I got the impression he wrote it himself. And it was for a show called something like Man in Gorilla Costume Sits in Chair and Does Nothing for an Hour.
I really want to see that. It's on my list.
The email was like, the young man who performs this show would love to speak about it in an interview. And I got back and I was like, this isn't normally what I talk about, but I'm so intrigued. This is insane. I've looked stuff up about it. I'd love to talk to you. And then like a week later, I got another email saying, the young man is very busy with rehearsals and can't do interviews.
That's great.
But yeah, that's my... And another gorilla mention, which is good.
Yeah.
Always
right
good.
on my street. See, it is a good idea.
But yeah, speaking of gorillas, which are animals, the sketch you guys have brought on today features another animal, a well-known animal.
What a segue.
I know, right?
That's incredible.
And I'm very excited about this because it's been a while since... Well, I was going to say it's a while since I've done a sketch, but that is because it's been a while since I've had sketch comedians on. And you have given me the great honor of playing a role in it. So,
yeah.
Before we leap into it, so a couple of things. I mean, the first one, is there any context you would like to give? You don't have to if you'd rather.
There is some context we could give.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is one that we didn't put in the show, so we thought it might be fun for you to like...
an exclusive.
To have some like content that you haven't seen before.
Yes.
We thought maybe this would be a fun way to do this sketch as well, because of what's in it.
Yes, definitely. Okay.
At least I thought that. Alice is looking at me like she doesn't...
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Maybe it could go in at some point in the show, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. No.
I don't know, we cut it for a reason. Sorry, you're basically getting the dregs.
Oh, it's good. I'm happy, more than happy with drag, especially if I get to be involved. And speaking of that, I was going to ask, so the way you tend to go is they're quite like a cold read thing, but is there any thoughts you have about how you'd like me to do the character at all?
Okay, yeah, so I think Patrick's character is just indignant. Is that the right word?
I think to begin with earnest and then indignant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Brilliant. A full arc. I love that.
Do you have any questions for us?
I probably should do. I guess, that was my main one. Is there anything else I should keep in mind before? There's something I should mention.
Yes, actually.
Before you answer the question, which I just cut you off in the middle of answering, which is that I don't know how to whistle, which I've been reassured is okay. But the good thing is that you will know when it gets to the part in the sketch where I'm supposed to whistle. You will know that I'm trying. So when that happens, it will be clear.
Okay.
Perfect.
Are we going to mention what these are?
What do you mean?
Well, I'll just say it now and then they can always be cut, I guess. Should we say that normally have like sound effects, like MP3 files, and we thought it'd be funny for me to just try and do the sound effects in person.
Yes.
I'm genuinely excited with how we've casted it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Are you guys ready to launch in?
Yeah, I guess so. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, yes, we spoke on the phone. I've booked to have my dog stay here at the kennels for a couple of weeks.
Oh, yes, of course. Where is he?
Left him in the car park, actually. Let's pop out and I'll introduce you. Where's he got to? Clifford! Clifford!
Oh my God!
There you are. Who's a good boy? Have a treat.
I highly doubt he could even fit into our kennels.
What? You don't cater for bully XXXXXXXXLs?
Our largest cage is 5 by 5 by 9.
Feet or meters?
Irrelevant! Neither would accommodate this monstrosity.
Don't be silly. I expect you to find space for him, and on Tuesday, I expect you to re-dye his hair red.
Wait, that's not his natural hair colour?
Of course not. No, we just wanted him to stand out in a crowd.
This is ridiculous. I'm not taking your massive freak dog.
Clifford, attack his property until he agrees.
Smash, smash, smash!
My car! No! My 2014 Dacia Sandero! No! My pride and joy! Okay, fine. He can stay. Oh my gosh, how did he even get that big?
He's a very special pup. We surround him with so much love. And the love makes him grow and grow.
I see.
2 weeks later.
I'm here to pick up Clifford. But he's tiny. What on earth happened?
We signed him up to Twitter.
That was stupid.
That's very good.
Can I just check something?
Yes.
Were you doing me?
No, I wasn't.
Because it was bang on, if so.
May I have discovered a talent that I can do brilliant impressions, but only of specifically you.
I hope I didn't wake up too many people.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
I felt like I had to commit, but it is also 20 past 11 at the time of recording.
Oh, I'm the same. I would have attempted to. I don't think I would have managed it with quite the panache you did, but rural village where I live, they would have all been up or having heart attacks. They're all pretty old. But yeah, how do we feel about that? That's a little cold read.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had fun. Yeah,
brilliant.
I think you got into a role, and
there were some lines in there that the massive freak dog line.
Yeah, I know. We've never said that before. I don't know.
Who put that in there?
Sometimes we go back to, because we just get used to saying it in a certain way on stage. Sometimes we come back to the way we actually wrote a script originally, and it is like completely different to how we usually deliver it. So there were whole lines in there that we have never said before.
Yeah.
It was great.
What do you normally say instead of massive freak dog?
I don't think we say anything usually. I think we just say, well, I'm sorry, he can't stay here. You'll have to find somewhere else. That's usually what we say, I think.
Yeah. Is that right? I don't remember. I don't have anything.
I like it.
Any insight on that? Yeah.
I like seeing comedic writing at work, the process live. But yeah, speaking of live, I'm loving attempting these segues. Where can everybody, I mean, people know it's at Edinburgh, which is a place to start, but specifically, where and when can people see your show? And also any other stuff you'd like to plug?
So, people can see our show at The Caves, specifically just out the box, at 5:20 p.m. every day of the Fringe except for the 12th.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I felt like a newsreader saying that.
Yes. What's happening on the 12th? Is it just a break or is...
Yeah, day off.
Yeah, just a day off.
Yeah,
yeah.
Needed.
Give me time to rest my vocal cords or something like that. Yeah. That sounds... You've seen the show, so you know that makes sense, but if someone hasn't seen the show, like, why is he
oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, holy shit. I'm surprised you don't need to alternate days.
Yeah.
We have considered it as a possibility.
Yeah. So far, it's okay, but... Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Come see the show to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to plug?
Yes, one thing we should definitely plug is we are running a Edinburgh Fringe Mario Kart tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyone and everyone, acts, audience members, can come and find us. Usually after our show, we're kind of, at the moment we're running a bit of a drop-in, but I don't want to pin anything to that just in case you have to change it. But if you keep an eye on our Instagram page, it will kind of keep it updated with when and where they can come and participate in our Mario Kart tournament.
Perfect. And hopefully do better than me. I went in with very high ambitions and I came out crushed, but these things happen. And speaking of your Instagram, is it at low effort sketches? Is it low.effort?
At low.effort.sketches.
Excellent.
At low effort sketches is taken by someone who does actual sketches, as in drawings.
Ah, those bastards. Don't worry, I'll make sure they're taken down after this. But brilliant. Obviously, I'll drop all that in the show notes. And I know you guys have a YouTube and other things I can put. I think you have a link tree as well, don't you? That I can.
We do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So put that down below. But yeah, with that, I've been Patrick. My guest, brackets S, have been Andy and Alice. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, guys. This has been really good.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is really fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. And I will see you guys next episode. And hopefully Alice and Andy will see you guys, well, possibly tomorrow. So wherever you are, get to the Edinburgh Fringe. Or they have told me to say that anyone who listens to this podcast and doesn't go, that they're incredibly disgusted by you.
No, and that's not fair because we don't have another disclaimer segment.
See you guys next week. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of the show. You can find the show on Instagram at NeverIsFunny, all one word, all lowercase, and the music used in the intro and the outro that you're listening to right now is There It Is by Kevin MacLeod, practicingcomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0, licensed creativecommons.org/licenses/4.0. The guest next time is gonna be comedian Bobby Sheehan. See you there.